I am Doug.
And I'm Cathy.
And this is Maggie Mae. Join us as we follow the moon. Today, we are going around Lake Texoma on the Oklahoma side and the Texas side and bring you some of these great little towns all the way scattered around the lake. And they're kind of important towns. Governor Gary came from one of these towns. Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani live in one of these little towns. And Dwight Eisenhower came from one of these little towns.
That's right.
So we'll show you around this great area called Texoma.
Thanks.
We're going to start in Madill, Oklahoma. And Medill is the home to one of Oklahoma's governors. These little guys are out in front of the museum, and they were actually around the town square at one point. But this museum has so many artifacts of the local history. It is a free of charge museum. Definitely worth stopping in and taking a peek at.
Always love looking through these places.
Yeah, you can gauge a lot about the community and what the community has went through, taking a look at what has been left as important. There's a lot of artwork in town too. Beautiful older buildings. And even their park benches are decorated. I like the little musical sculpture there.
Yeah.
Now this is the main courthouse. They've got their Veterans Memorial out in front. And all the way around the courthouse are some of the old storefronts. And they're still pretty well filled. This one I wanted to show you. They were not open at the time, but that building is full of all kinds of old cars. It's really neat. Now we're off to Tishomingo. And Tishomingo is a really neat small town, and it's famous for a couple of different things. First up, this is the Chickasaw National Capitol, and this building was built in the late 1800s, and beautiful grounds, beautiful property. My understanding it is open to the public at certain times. Thought we would let those words stand for themselves because they truly do tell the story. A little history about the building itself. The downtown is another one of those really cute old downtowns, but this is home to the original Ole Red. And if any of you are country music fans, you've probably heard of Ole Red. That was the hunting dog of Blake Shelton. And this is where Blake's home is Tishomingo, Oklahoma. We've got a nice little gift shop there. They do have an open area that is just new because he's taken over the building beside that now, and that is the doghouse, where we've all been at some point in our lives, right? And you might even see him staring at you out of one of the windows downtown. He actually owns the 10 Point Ranch, just about 5 minutes outside of town. Just a short ways away from the ranch is the Tishomingo National Wildlife Refuge. Now they do have this observation deck, so of course you see an observation deck, you have to go up and observe.
That's right.
This talks about submerged houses, and out there in the water you can see those houses sticking up out of it. That was homes before the dam was put in that formed Lake Texoma, and the concrete structures are still there and are home to many, many fish, we understand. The geese also use this area as they're flying from South America back to Canada. There used to be more Canadian geese in the area when it was peanut farming area, but when it more switched to cattle, they lost their food source and they moved further west. Now there you'll see Lake Texoma. This area of the lake looked real muddy.
Yes.
And they also had these blinds set up. We didn't find, in the heat of the afternoon, we didn't find a whole lot out there.
We could hear them.
Yeah. Now next up is Fort Washita, and this is a fort that was built primarily for the Chickasaw and Choctaw Indians, and it was their protection from the Plains Indians. The Chickasaw had been brought in from Mississippi, Alabama area, and that was what we've all heard of as the Trail of Tears. They were moving as many as 6,000 of them a month at that point onto Choctaw land. They do give you some of the uniforms that the soldiers used in the day, the different flags. This is a diorama of the fort. It didn't actually have a wall around it because it's situated in the convergence of 3 rivers, and so they had a great view. They could tell if anybody was coming.
Plus the plateau set up a little bit high.
Mm-hmm. Now the remnants over there, the stone remnants, were for the officers' quarters. This is actually an original cabin that was built on the site after the Civil War. While you're seeing all of the rock formations, the Confederate Army, before they left this, burned everything to the ground. So the only thing that was truly left were the stonework in the buildings. Now this has also got a small cemetery here that has estimated to be 200 Confederate soldiers in unmarked graves. This will show you the southern route over to the west coast during the gold rush, and this was how they traveled it.
And you can walk around the grounds or you can drive.
Mm-hmm. There are roads that go through it, and you can drive from space to space, or you can walk the park too. There by the lake, you'll see the foundations of a couple of the latrines. And then these are other buildings like the kitchen and other buildings that were on the property. Now from there, we went to Durant, Oklahoma. And Durant is another one of these great little historic towns. I love the brick streets.
I do too.
And Durant City Hall is famous not only for the founder's statue there, but for the world's largest peanut. And they actually just had a celebration the week before we got there. They had planters, Mr. Peanut was there to celebrate with them. It's also about 3 miles away from Calera, Oklahoma, for the Choctaw Cultural Center. They were just closing as we got there, so there's another one to put on for next time. But this is a massive complex, and it's all of the history of the Choctaw people. And I love that. Two hands holding feathers. Now the dam and spillway are at the east end on the Oklahoma-Texas line. There you'll see the dam going across, and then this is the spillway just across the road from it. When you see that, you know you've crossed from Oklahoma down to Texas, unless you're going the other direction.
That's right.
Now back in Texas, we're in Dennison, Texas, and this is Eisenhower State Park. Eisenhower State Park has got some great camping spaces and great trails, and all of it borders Lake Texoma. The boat area, the boat docks, that's called the Eisenhower Yacht Club. And you'll see boats out there on the lake all the time.
There were a lot of people there fishing too.
Now we went to the far part of the park, and this is their beach area. The beach area, you're not allowed to take dogs. So we took one of the paths that went off of that is dog friendly, and the rest of the park is dog friendly as long as they're on leash. You see a little turtle there that was watching us as we walked by. And when you get out there, this is the view of beautiful Lake Texoma.
And it is beautiful.
This is worth the entire trip to the park to see this lookout.
It's called Lover's Leap.
Now we're going on in from there into the town of Denison, Texas. And Denison, Texas is home to the Red River Railroad Museum. As well as some other really cool old buildings. Now that big building that you see down there ahead of you is the Katy Depot from the Katy Railroad.
And it's huge.
It is massive. One of the largest ones for this size of a town I think I've ever seen. I love the sculpture out there of the everybody come aboard.
Yep. Hurry.
Now, this is not just a depot. When you walk in, you'll see the grand waiting area. But this has also been turned into a shopping and event venue. And we're going to just quickly go down the hallway to show you everything that's here on the first floor. But this is a wedding gown shop on the left that must have 1,500 wedding dresses in it. It was massive. There's clothing boutiques. There's one down here on the end that looks like they were doing custom embroidery work on hats and the like. This tells you on the first, second, and third floors what there is. And there's a couple of wine bars up in the front that are just beautiful. Now also in Dennison is the birthplace of our president, Dwight D. Eisenhower. His statue stands there in the gardens, and that was the home he was born in. There are times that they do offer guided tours through the house. Now we're moving on to Sherman, Texas, and this is the Sherman Jazz Museum. It's actually in an old lodge building. And old, in 1925, that's one of the newer old buildings that we've seen. We stopped at Garcias Taqueria. This is rated, I think, 4.5 stars on Google. So we went ahead and tried it.
It was good.
Oh, this was incredible. They do have a small eat-in area. We had Maggie with us, so we sat at the table out front. The chips and the salsa, the chips were real light, which they didn't look like they were going to be. I got a couple of the street tacos. Cathy got a street taco and a tamale. That's a definite do-over.
Oh, the tamales were good.
Oh, and this is downtown Sherman, Texas. Again, beautiful, small, old town. This is the Grayson County courthouse. And something that you don't see a lot, Grayson, that the county was named after, was from Bardesville, Kentucky, where we had a video on the Whiskey Trail.
Yep.
This statue was the first Confederate statue that was erected in the state of Texas.
I love this.
Whitesboro, there are all kinds of old gas station signs around that, and it's an electrical contractor's building. It must just be what he likes. This building's called the 1906. It was a church. It's now an event venue.
It was beautiful.
It's been restored. It is absolutely magnificent. The colors in the stained glass are just incredible. And the bell towers, really, really neat. But there's so many of the blues and the teals and the turquoise in those windows. I can imagine from the inside what it must look like.
Yeah.
Now this is the little downtown of Whitesboro. You can tell it's all been redone recently because it's all new streets. It has the walkway down through the middle with the lights.
I love the lights.
It's really, really neat looking. But one of the things Whitesboro is known for is the clock tower. It sits right there at the city municipal building, right there on the corner. And we went in a full circle. We're actually now about 15 minutes away from the point where we started.
Yeah. It was nice. It was really nice to get out like that.
Well, Cathy, we're kind of wrapping things up right here on Lake Texoma. So what did you think about our time exploring Texoma?
It has been really beautiful. I feel like this is almost like a vacation.
Yeah.
It's just so peaceful and
very laid
it's really
back.
Beautiful, yeah.
And everything from the campground that we're staying in, which is the Thousand Trails Lake Texoma, everything's been within 45 minutes. And you can make just one big giant loop.
Yep.
And
Or a couple small ones if you want.
yeah, we broke it up into 2 days. We did the Oklahoma side one day and the Texas side another day. It was a great time.
It sure was. Yeah.
If you liked our video today, leave us a thumbs up. We certainly appreciate it. And at the end of the video, you'll see a dot over in this corner. If you'll tap that, you can subscribe and ring the notification bell, and that way you'll know when every one of our videos come out.
And thank you for following us as we follow the moon.